Welcome back to the Behind the Uni podcast, brought to you by the University of Gloucestershire. We have a very special episode today, focusing on everything Gloss grads and graduation. Here's the 411. We sat down with students from different courses to talk about their time at university, favourite Uni of Gloss memory. We also chatted to students outside of our studio, straight away after their graduation ceremonies, in our extra special edition of Behind the Uni but in Public podcast. You'll listen to, or watch, on YouTube, snippets from that special edition between the main interview. If you want to see more, just head over to our YouTube channel at Uni of Gloss for full videos. Let's dive in.
Thank you so much for joining us in the Behind Uni podcast. How are you feeling?
I'm great, thank you. Thanks so much for having me.
You're welcome. And if we could start off by, what's your name and what's your course of study?
I'm Keely and I take music business. Well, I took music business. Now graduating. Woo!
Love
But
that.
yeah.
Love that. Love that
Amazing.
so much.
And I would love to kind of like start at the very beginning, taking you back to like when you were applying for university. Did you always want to go to uni?
Yeah. My brother went to uni and he's just smashing his life. So I was like, I want to go to uni. But I took music. And I was like, I don't know what degrees you can take with music. So I started looking around and I wasn't really into performance.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew I wanted to do something more on the industry side, which doesn't lead to many degrees anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, as soon as I came to Gloucestershire, I was like, this place sounds like really good and they kind of do the things that I want to do in the future or I'm thinking about doing in the future. So yeah, it really stood out to me and I was like, yeah, uni sounds good. I'll come here, yeah.
Love that. Did you go to like an open day? What was your like journey to come to university like?
Yeah, so me and my dad went to the open day because he's into horse racing, if you didn't already know.
So much.
We've been talking about the race course all morning because Keely's dad is a bit of a fun girl.
Oh yeah.
I love it.
And so yeah, he came for the horses and I came for the open day. And yeah, it just was really great, really enjoyed it. So,
Sounds
yeah.
like a win-win.
Yeah, definitely.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, so Keely, obviously, it's been quite a long journey, but I want to take you back to your first year. How was like them first 2 weeks sort of coming into uni and like were you nervous, obviously, like sort of stepping out your car and then going into halls? Like, what was your feeling?
It was really scary for me because I'm not very sociable and I'm a bit anxious. So going into uni halls, not knowing anyone, especially like coming from up north as well. I feel like a lot of people come from like the local area or kind of round here at least. And so it's kind of a bit weird coming round and there's lots of southern people and I was like, this is so out of my comfort zone. I sound so weird in front of all these people. But yeah, and then I had really lovely flatmates and I kind of just sank into it and it kind of just got easier and easier. But yeah, it was definitely really scary when I got out of the car.
I think that's a good thing though, is like, obviously coming to uni for the first time is you get to meet so many different types of people and like you said, you're from up north and like there's loads of people. Like I'm from Bristol, for example. I met my best mate who was from Exeter and it's just like, that's like a 2-hour drive away. It's like, it's crazy how you can meet so many people and get along with them people from different areas around the country.
It's such a melting pot of like different cultures, different like ideas of life. Like I mentioned on the podcast, like on this episode, that one of my best friends is from Bulgaria. I wouldn't have even like thought about meeting someone from Bulgaria before university, which is really cool. Obviously, like you said, your course is very specific. Was that something that when you like went to the talk at the open day, were you like, okay, cool, this makes sense for me? Or did you have like reservations? Like what kind of questions did you ask that day?
I was a bit nervous because, not many people take a music business degree. Even to the point where yesterday I met my boyfriend's family and they were like, oh, so what did you take? And I was like, music business. And they were like, oh, what's that? And it's always kind of like, that's a bit weird. But once I got over that and I was like, I'm taking this for me because this is what I'm genuinely interested in. So, even though I'm not taking like law or marketing or something that sounds proper posh, it was fun and I really enjoyed it and I got to learn so much about the industry that I wouldn't have learned without coming to uni.
Yeah, and I think like it's obviously a very niche degree, but I think now that we've spoke to you about your life, it's obviously been fruitful because you are working in industry. So we'll talk about your job and what you're doing right now in a moment, but I would love to know what was like throughout your 3 years of university, what was like the most important skill that you've learned that you actually use in your job right now?
When I was in first year, a huge part of my degree, which I really loved, was that it was very kind of entrepreneurial.
Mm-hmm.
So it was always encouraging us to start our own projects and businesses, and that's exactly what I did in first year. And then I carried that through all the way to third year, and I'm still running my business now. And if it wasn't for that project that I started, I would not have got the job I'm in now, because I wouldn't have had the skills. I wouldn't be able to impress people with what I've done before. So yeah, that was a huge thing, is kind of starting my own projects and having the belief to go out and be confident enough to go out and do what I'm really passionate about. And yeah, I definitely would not have done that if I hadn't come to uni.
I think it's definitely gaining that experience as well, like being able to start your own projects and then showcasing to potential employers that I do have the experience, and I have, well, from your first year, you have like three or 4 years of it now, and then you can go in there straight in there and be like, wow, like look what I can do.
Yeah, exactly.
Here is what I can offer you for your company.
What was that business? What's the premise?
So it's called Sass and Snoll, and when COVID started, I was feeling a bit sorry for myself because I wasn't able to connect with any other people in the music industry, and I was really struggling to take my first steps to get where I wanted to get. So I started a little Instagram page for young people in the music industry to connect and learn about the industry, find tips and resources on how they can enter their own careers, and just so we can like kind of help each other out. And through that, I run workshops and go to conferences, and yeah, it's just a lot of fun, to be honest.
Love that. You're like an actual definition of a girl boss. I
love that.
That's like I think the class of 2022 and the class of 2021 who graduated last year obviously went through the pandemic as students. For you, it was like pretty much in your first year, right? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think whenever you go into any job now, you can be like, I did it all from home, so I can do this job from home. But like, yeah, you've obviously just kind of took matters into your own hand. And what's been your favorite thing throughout that project? Like, what did you do that was like, that was like your proudest
highlight,
moment?
a standout moment.
So I was part of a program where I had a Sony mentor, so Sony Music UK, and my mentor was the senior digital marketing manager at Columbia, which is a big deal. And for 6 months, she helped me so much. Just learn about the industry, learn about going into marketing and kind of discovering social media in the music industry, which I had no idea was a thing, which makes a lot of sense now.
Yeah.
But
isn't it funny when you work in social media that like you now see something on like online, you're like, someone's behind that. I know that.
exactly. But yeah, so she taught me a lot about the industry, and then at the end of this program, we had this showcase where you got to talk in front of the entirety of Sony Music UK, and I got to share all about Sass and Snarl and what I do and the music industry. And the CEO and chairman of Sony came up to me after and was like, "You're gonna do great things." And I literally, I left the office, rang my mum and just cried. I just sat on this bench and I was like, "Mummy said I was amazing." It was just such a huge moment for me. Yeah.
I love that. That's such like a I made it moment.
Oh yeah.
I love that. You mentioned the Sony mentor. How did that come about? Like how obviously, because that person sounds very impressive, and we'll talk about that in a moment, but like, how did it come about?
So through Sass and Snarl, I was going to lots of networking events, and I met a girl who'd just started her internship in marketing, and I was like, how did you do that? Like, I'm really struggling. Like, how do you even kind of find the contacts to do that? She's like, oh, I joined this program. And I immediately went and applied for it and went through this whole process of like interviews, and like, if they didn't have the mentor that was right for me, like I wasn't going to get one. Which is why I think Sass and Snarl really played into it, because I could show all my passion for the music industry and exactly what I love doing. And that kind of connected me to my mentor, who I'm still in touch with, and who actually got me my job. So yeah.
What's the name?
Caitlin Fine.
Oh, shout out Caitlin.
Oh yeah.
We've like heard throughout the whole week about allyship and what that means for so many people, and like this is a great example of a good ally, Caitlin being a good ally for you. Obviously, everyone that has any form of interest in the music industry understands how difficult it is to be a woman in music. I mean, their bands have written songs and albums about it. So what was Caitlin's allyship to you? Like, what does that mean to you as a young woman?
Yeah, so entering the industry, what you actually find is there's a lot of really talented young women entering the industry. It's just that they're not reaching the higher positions. So you don't really see women higher up in the industry. And when you do it, it's like, oh, wow, like you've really smashed it. And Caitlin was like that to me. I was like, whoa, you can do this. Like, I can become a senior marketing manager. Like, that's crazy. And she's worked on huge campaigns with huge people. And it kind of showed me like, oh yeah, I can do that. Like, she's so talented and she's given me so much advice. Like, yeah, I'm definitely going to go try my best and get to where she's got. Yeah. So she's just really inspired me.
I love that.
Oh, that is awesome.
And I think that's like that could be it. Like just having a source of inspiration, like, and representation is so important.
Yeah, exactly.
That's really cool.
Yeah, so we touched on obviously about your course a tiny bit, but I'd love to find out a bit more about it. Like, so what was sort of your favourite moment through your 3 years on your course at university?
It was a strange one because obviously with COVID, a lot of it was online, and because it was such like a courseworky, lots of projects degree, you didn't really do like written stuff or exams. It was all kind of very important that we were going out and doing stuff. But I say like one big thing was I got invited to talk about Sass and Snarl in front of the students and in front of people at UK Music.
Wow.
And it was actually 5 minutes. And I just kind of got to talk about what I did, and it was just really amazing just seeing the rest of my class just like really supporting me, and seeing like the guy at UK Music being like, wow, that was really cool, I want to work with you in the future. And yeah, it was just really lovely just kind of being like, oh, look what I've built, and like look all the people have helped me do that. It was just really nice.
So nice.
That's so cool. I just love hear it when students tell us about those like wholesome moments and like that made them like feel really like supported by the community and whatnot. I want to take you back into first year because what you just said is really really important. So you presented in front of your class on UK Music. You presented in front of the CEO of Sony Music. If first year you could see you now, what would they say?
They wouldn't believe that I did that, because I was so anxious and so scared of doing anything. Like just like talking to like someone just as a friend was like, oh my god, that's really scary, like what do they think of me? And now I can go and talk in front of loads of people and just be really confident and just be like myself and just really cheery, and it's just amazing to see how far I've come, particularly in that aspect. Yeah
That's really cool.
On that note, what advice would you give to your first year self if you had to go back and obviously do like the whole university experience again?
Start my projects sooner. I have a note in my phone that on like sometime in like early October that says Sass and Snarl. It's just like something I came up with, just like an idea, and I didn't actually start it until May. So it sat in my notes for 6 months, and I just think, oh, if I had another 6 months, I wonder where I'd be now. But yeah, I wish I started it sooner. Yeah.
Wow. That's crazy that you just said that, because when I started the society when I was a student, I started it in February of second year. And when I got interviewed, when I was graduating in 2019, that was the thing that I said. I was like, I wish I started the magazine in first year of university, because I wouldn't even know how many awards we would have gotten if we started a year earlier. But I guess everything happens at the right time for the right reason, right? So, and in the future, you could just go with your gut, whatever you feel.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I think definitely as a student, don't be scared to take that leap of faith.
100%.
As you said, like, look at what you've done, and look at what you've done as well. Like, it's amazing what you both have achieved, and it's like, could have started sooner, and it'd be even better. It's like,
you're gonna say yes to opportunities, whether they're professional or even like it's like a social thing or like an activity, because you never know what you'll learn from it. Obviously, you mentioned that your younger self wouldn't believe where you are now, but how has uni and your course kind of helped you develop that confidence, helped you become a more sure of yourself, to take the leap of faith and start Sass and Snarl? How did that help you?
Because it was such like a project-based degree, I wouldn't have like kind of chosen to do that on my own. I wouldn't have been like, if I was just sat at home, I don't think I would have started it. So with it being like project based and our lecturers like really pushing us to kind of do our own thing and kind of follow what we're passionate about, I think that was the main thing. And then from there, they were just really supportive, like bringing in a guy from UK Music to share about what I do and get opportunities from that. They were always just kind of looking out for us and giving us opportunities where they could. Wow.
Amazing.
Obviously, you had a lot of work on during uni. How did you balance that, obviously, with your social life and get that balance sort of correct? Because I know from my experience, I really struggled to try and get that social and work balance.
Yeah, like exactly it was like work and more work. It wasn't really the social life everyone kind of thinks of at uni. Kind of sat in my room on my laptop all day working, and then going to the library straight after that to finish off whatever projects I was working on. It was really intense, and it wasn't fun, but I didn't hate it. It wasn't awful. It was a lot of hard work, but I'm so glad I did it. And I think uni's the perfect time to just kind of spread yourself out as much as you can. So yeah, it was as much as it was tough, it wasn't bad. Yeah.
Because like you look back at it and I hope you're proud of yourself.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
Because I definitely do understand what it's like to be in a room and just like on a laptop designing, coming up with content and whatnot. But then I also always say this, it was the best time of my life to discover new music.
Oh, yeah.
Because obviously you're like procrastinating a little bit on Spotify.
Of course, yeah.
Is Spotify your streaming platform of choice?
Yeah, it is.
Cool. And then it's just like, you're finding new music and whatnot. You just said that you worked really hard and obviously COVID and whatnot. I always say that university is hugely supported by people from outside, whether it's family or friends. So who were the people who were your rock throughout university?
Me and my boyfriend lived with each other in halls. So we were kind of like...
Did you meet in halls?
No, we've been together for 5 years now. So we met in college.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, we lived in the same room in halls for like 3 years, which was pretty intense. But I honestly couldn't have done this like without him, because he's just, when you have a bad day and you come back and you're like, I need to moan, I need to just complain about everything that's just happened, even if it's like tiny little things. He just kind of sit there and be like, right, come on then. And it was just really just nice to just kind of have someone that was there for me, and kind of like, even though like he took a law degree, like he has no idea about the music industry or like anything creative at that.
He also went to Uni of Gloucester.
Yeah, he did. And it was just kind of nice to just have like someone else just kind of be like, oh, well, I'll listen to you. I'll listen to about what you got to do. And try and offered me advice, which I appreciate. I do appreciate. But yeah, no, if it wasn't for him, I don't even think I would have lasted first year. I think I would have just been like, oh, I'll just go home and try something else.
That's a really unique experience. So you were in a relationship and then you came to uni with the relationship.
Yep.
And you both have survived a pandemic.
Oh yeah.
Locked in a room together.
Yep.
For 3
Wow.
years.
You've really proven to yourself that you guys like love each other. That's so cute. I love that. Also, in terms of your lecturers, who would you say would like your go-to lecturer?
Okay, so in third year, when I was doing my dissertation, my tutor was a lady called Abigail, and she was...
Abigail Gardner?
Yes.
Okay.
I adore her. I don't think she knows that, but I do. But
I don't know. Whatever you want to say to Abigail.
There you go, Abigail. There you go.
But literally, like, my dissertation was on women in the music industry. So obviously having a female lecturer was just a huge thing. And she was literally, I'd go up to her office and we'd just talk about the music industry and just talk about all these different things that we were seeing. And it was just really kind of, one, cool, but also like comforting. Because there was not really like, other than Caitlin, obviously, there wasn't really someone that I could literally just go to like an office to and just kind of chat about the music industry with. But yeah, no, Abigail. And she literally helped me smash my dissertation. Like when I got my grade back, I was like, yes. And it was all because of her.
I love that. That's so wholesome.
So now uni is finished. What is the next step? What is that next goal ahead?
So I'm working remotely at the minute. And
tell us about your job, please, because it's so cool.
So my mentor got me a job in a social media agency in the music industry, and I did work experience in my final year in like November, and I used to do like 6 hours a week, like it was nothing. And then I started part-time in January, and then I'm working more after I've left uni, and it's all remote. And my job is basically looking at artist pages, so like music artists like Sam Smith, Liam Gallagher. It all leaves my brain as soon as I try and talk about it. But like the 1975, Florence and the Machine, I feel like they're some of the biggest ones we have. But yeah, and basically I'm a social media coordinator, and I'm kind of going into an account manager role now. So I'm starting to manage a few of the accounts myself, which is a bit scary.
That's really cool.
But yeah, we're just running social media pages for these artists, and it's really cool, really stressful, but really cool.
I can imagine you get a lot of DMs in on them pages.
Yeah.
I just love the idea of you trying to, I mean, I'm not sure what the extent of your job is, but the idea of you trying to write captions for Liam Gallagher to me is really amusing. What was like one of the craziest things that you've done at your job, or like one of the moments you're like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm doing this?
I think it was kind of just finding kind of trends and like kind of content for our artists to use, and then actually seeing them using it and kind of being like, although like, you know, it wasn't really my idea, it's just like a trend that I found, but like that came from me, and that video performed really well, and kind of just knowing that like I'm kind of supporting these artists to kind of reach more people, engage with their audience, it's just really cool. Yeah.
Nice. I love that.
I wish I could do that.
We're recording this podcast in November 2022, and currently Sam Smith's Unholy is like in the top 10 Billboard Hot 100. Were you kind of involved in the rollout of the song, in all the media frenzy and the TikTok frenzy that happened with the song? How was that kind of in the office?
Yeah, so I wasn't directly on Sam, but I got to do like a few little bits. But yeah, no, it was really crazy because it just went.
It went
mad. It was everywhere.
Overnight.
Yeah, no, it was so cool. And yeah, it was kind of just one of those, like, ever since, like, when I say, like, oh yeah, I work on some stuff, everyone just goes, Unholy. And I'm like, yes.
Straight away.
Yes, so I can just hear it, like, replaying in my mind. But yeah, no, it's really, really cool. And just working on stuff like that is just insane to think that I'm doing that out of uni. Oh, love it.
So cool.
Wow.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time out of your graduation day. You've got an incredible day ahead of you, and please, like, be present, trying to savor every moment.
Make the most of it, isn't it? Just enjoy it. Make sure to get photos in every sport with your dad as well, because he will love that.
Yeah, he will love that. He's already trying, to be fair.
It's a beautiful day at the Cheltenham Racecourse. We've kind of had rain over the past couple of days, and the sun have come out for your dad's visit, so he's lucky man.
Come from the north.
Yeah, come from the north. Exactly. But yeah, thank you so much, and good luck with the future. And you should be super proud of everything that you've achieved, because you're also winning an award today. So congratulations. And yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I've loved it.
No problem.
Thank you. Have a great day. Oh, look, it's Will. Hello, Will.
Will! Hello!
So, you will know this if you watched our podcast before, but Will, I just said his name. What's your name and what's your course of study?
I'm Will. What have I done? I've just graduated from Bachelor of Science Geography.
How's the day going?
It's all right. Well, I'm just currently looking for the fam. Don't know where they've gone.
By the way, I love your suit.
Thanks.
I love the tartan tie, and I just love the
I
suit.
feel like a Kingsman. You know that movie? Yeah.
I've gone for the
haven't got any
more.
weapons, I promise.
I've gone for the Henry Cavill Mission Impossible look.
It's nice. Yeah. Look,
with the
I even
moustache
get the
as
knife
well.
that comes out. To do that.
Ooh.
I look like a hipster teacher. Well, you've been on a podcast before talking all the thing about biodiversity, sustainability at university, but you're now about to do, have you started your masters?
Started, yeah.
Ooh.
So started at Southampton.
Ew.
I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but
Traitor.
UOG is definitely not better than Southampton Uni. Sorry if any Southampton alumni are watching this, but honestly. But yeah, so doing a master's in water resource management. It's kind of combining like river sciences with freshwater ecology, all that gorgeous stuff I was talking about on the podcast, on the sustainability one. So you wasn't there, though, was you?
No,
He was on holiday.
I was flying across the world on holiday, enjoying the sun.
It's okay.
Not very sustainable.
I'm sorry.
Burning
I
cans
would
of
walk
fuel.
there, or cycle, but it's just too far away.
It's too far.
Went to Spain. Oh, was it?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, so my dad's got a villa out in Spain.
I wanted to go.
Went out there, enjoyed the sun for a week.
Fab. So, Will, we've got a bunch of random questions in here. Some of them are serious, some of them are wholesome. Just unfold
Good
it,
luck.
read it out loud, and answer it.
What's one lesson that university has taught you?
Ooh, good question that.
That's a really hard. Who wrote these questions? You.
I'm sorry.
Right, we're having trouble. I don't know. Always be your true, authentic self. So I feel like coming to university, you feel like you have to conform to a certain standard. But actually, the more you get out of university being yourself, the best experience you're going to have ultimately. And yeah, just have a great time and love it because it's amazing.
Yeah,
That's so good.
that's so good. So
Again,
wholesome.
you're so wholesome. I love that. Thank you so much.
That was.
I love that.
Will Ian,
He's always so good. He's
ex-podcast
found his
guest.
family.
And for him.
Ex-podcast guest.
Ex-podcast guest. We can try and rope him back in for an episode soon.
Once he leaves, once he decides that Southampton is not good enough.
And he does a PhD here.
Watch
And
out, Southampton.
we'll see.
We've been doing a lot of podcasting outside and inside with different students, and today we have two students from the School of Computing and Engineering. So I'll do a little classic primary school icebreaker where I ask you your name and what course you're on. We'll start with you.
Hi, I'm Lewis Hammond and I was doing computer games programming.
That sounds cool. What about you?
I'm Gareth Barlow. I was doing computer and cyber forensics.
Amazing. And you both started in 2018.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you did 4 years because you've got a placement in the middle, so we'll definitely talk about that as well. And yeah, we'll just jump right into it.
Yeah, jump straight into it. So, obviously, university, massive part of your life. What was your most memorable moment at university?
Ooh, I guess I'll start. So for our final year project, we had to create a game as a group. And kind of halfway through the development of that game, we took it to the Insomnia Gaming Festival in Birmingham for 4 days and showed it off to the public. And it was a really rewarding experience when you get to see something you've been working on for 5-6 months and you get hundreds of people sitting down and playing it and go, oh, that's great. You know, I love this bit of it. I love that bit of it. So I think that's probably my favourite experience from uni overall.
What was the game about?
It's based around Estonian mythology. Someone from our group was Estonian, and not many games have stories based around Estonian mythology.
Yeah, it's very niche.
Yeah,
I like that
topic.
So you were kind of playing the devil's favourite board game, and you had to fight off lots of monsters and make decisions as a team in order to get through the trials that the devil had set you.
Well, that sounds really cool.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
I can't even begin to think about how you start building a game. So that's really, really cool. Gareth, what about you? What's your favourite moment from uni?
Probably less academic, I'll be honest, but it was actually finally getting to move into the flat in first year because there was all the build-up before uni,
isn't it? Yeah.
And I've kind of ended up making lifelong friends from it. At least it feels that way. And just the next year was a whole different experience from living at home, and I wouldn't take it back, and I feel like it's done me better by doing it.
Oh wow!
That's amazing.
Did you stick with your flatmates from the first year to second, or
So-
did you move away from them?
I did for the second, and then COVID hit, and that kind of threw a
funny
spanner
thing.
in the works.
Yeah.
But I'm still in touch with a decent portion of them. I'm going to be meeting up with a few that are also graduating this today actually.
That's one of my favourite things I keep hearing from students, is that obviously people who are graduating for class of 2022 were kind of the last year to experience COVID. Everyone is using grad as like a little reunion and whatnot. Have you got plans after grad to go for dinner, go somewhere, go and drink in?
Yeah, not so much for me. I'm gonna kind of try and catch up with a friend. He lives up in the north now, so I don't get to see him that often.
That's lovely.
Unfortunately, being on placement as well, most of the people from our year graduated last year, and I'll be honest, I did my catch up then.
Okay,
So-
that's good. That's good you've made it. What about you, Lewis? Are you going out somewhere?
Yeah, we're planning to do a little bit of a tour, kind of the last reunion tour around
Oh,
Cheltenham,
oh.
around a few different places. And just before, a few days ago, we went on a little holiday to South Wales to kind of all meet up and spend some time together. It was very rainy, much like today.
Yeah, I know.
Typical England, that isn't it?
It's not the vibe right now. It was way nice this morning. People that are watching the podcast right now will see the sun. Obviously, people start university or go to university with a goal in mind. So now that you're obviously like graduating, you've done placement. What's your goal? Have you secured a job? Are you looking for jobs? What's your ambition, kind of thing?
Yeah, so I'm very fortunate that I'm currently working down in Brighton for Unity,
Really
doing programming stuff there. So I feel like I didn't really set myself a goal when I came into uni, but I feel like whatever I set myself, I got to by the end.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I've been lucky as well. My company that I worked on my internship has given me a job afterwards, and
We
I'm
love it when
currently
that happens.
doing that. Yeah, but I've got other aspirations as well, so I'm just seeing how life takes me.
Are you? Wait, you work in cyber forensics, right?
No, I'm
No?
actually a software engineer now.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
That's really
it
cool.
took me on a different
pretty
way.
cool.
Yeah.
But I mean, we've seen this happen a lot. Do you think your course has given you enough transferable skills that you're able to kind of like implement them in your job?
Yeah, it's a lot of soft skills that are actually the transferable part, because forensics is all about obviously looking into stuff and picking out what people wouldn't normally see. But software engineering, whilst it isn't doing cyber forensics, you also need to see those minute details to be able to kind of like error check, bug fix, that sort of stuff.
That's really, really cool. Again, I can't even begin to think how you do that. I panic when my computer doesn't update.
Just turn it on and off.
Yeah.
That's all. So obviously, 4 years at uni. If there's like sort of one moment you could redo again, what would it be?
Not saying that if you have any regrets,
Regrets.
but like if there is like something that you wish you knew when something happened or something like that. It could be an assignment. It could be a moment with your friends.
You go first. I can't think. Of it.
Oh, you've put me on the.
It's a tough question. It's a real tough
That is a
question.
real tough question.
I think I have to go back to that final assignment that we did as our group, because it was kind of the last moment we had to create something all together, exactly what we wanted, and we've kind of been building up to it for the previous 3 years, and we got to use everything we'd learned to go straight in and make something that we're really proud of.
What was that feeling when you finally sort of finished your game?
I think there's quite a feeling of relief when you're done.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, it's finally done. But you kind of look back on it a few weeks later and you go, oh, this is something that when we started the course, we couldn't have kind of dreamed of doing. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to steal, but it is basically the same for me because my final project was related to cyber forensics, but it was also looking into artificial intelligence and how to apply that in that sphere. And when I did the final presentation and they told me the final grade, there was just something about that I wish I could kind of just relive, because it was a relief, it was excitement, it was just
Were you
way too many things.
So you were happy with the grade?
Oh, very.
That's very good. It always pays off when that happens. I would love to ask you a question about gaming and making games. I can imagine that there's so many elements that go into putting a game together. But for you, what was like the most minute detail that you were excited to kind of like get stuck in and like maybe make it your own?
Oh, so in our group project, we had you could swing your sword around the character, and you've got a stick of an Xbox controller. You swing it round, and just making that feel so satisfying when you hit something and it bounces back off. It's a tiny little detail that people playing it probably wouldn't notice, but having it swing and bounce off so nicely, it's just a small little detail that took hours and hours for us to make, but it makes it feel so satisfying. And I think that's the bits of games that you don't really get to appreciate when you're playing it, but someone spent hours and hours making that tiny little bit, that tiny animation, that tiny thing, and I think it's just a nice little satisfying bit in the game.
Were you involved in Comex?
Yes.
How was that?
It was great.
But before we get into it, do you mind, because I just jumped the gun, do you mind explaining what Comex is?
So Comex is the uni's end of year show to show off all of the games projects that have been created that year. And it was just great to have, people from the industry come round, family and friends, just to come round and see what everybody had created for that year.
Amazing. And then you guys showed it, and what was like the feeling in between your group? I guess it was relief as well.
Yeah, when you get to the end of the project you've been working on for 6 months, and I'm sure you know how it goes, you'll get into the end of an assignment and it's like, we've got this much to do, and it keeps piling up, and you're like, oh, we missed this little bit, and getting to the hand-in date and going, right, we've done it now. Was such a good feeling to have, because it was the last assignment we handed in for uni as well, so it was kind of the combination of the both.
Yeah. And Gareth, with your course, I feel like there's a lot of independent study involved.
Yes.
I feel like
That's one way of putting it.
Yeah. Coming into it, how do you think you've changed so much in terms of like knowing how you operate in terms of studying and working? Do you think you've kind of improved, or are you different completely to where you were 4 years ago?
Massively different to how I kind of came into uni, because I chose the degree because it was 100% coursework based, and I'd done that at college, so I thought I'd be used to it. And then you get thrown in the deep end and realise that you don't really know.
And the deep end it is.
Yeah, but finding out how to research correctly, how to then go through the development process without overrunning your deadlines has been a massive help, especially going into where you'll obviously know deadlines on code and stuff are a nightmare. So that's helped massively.
That's cool.
Do you think uni has sort of helped you become the person you are today, with obviously with the whole experience as a whole through the 4 years?
I'd say so, yeah. A lot of things, from lecturers to classmates to flatmates, that I feel like I'm a very different person to what I was 4 years ago, and I feel like I've changed for the better, and hopefully what I've learned will continue that sort of process.
Yeah. Never stop learning. I think that's someone that's graduated, I want to say eons ago, but it wasn't. That was like 4 years ago. It's really, really cool, kind of like when I'm doing a master's right now and going back in education after being away for 3 years. I've figured out, I was like, oh my god, I've jumped right back into it. I'm like, I can still learn. Like it's nothing that stops. And I feel like with your jobs, you'll progress further and further. Obviously, 4 years you did a placement. I would love to hear more about that. Gareth, we'll start with you. What did you do in your placement? How was it?
Yeah, so I went in as it was a cyber research intern. That
sounds very James Bondy.
Yes, it does. It was kind of as cool as James Bond, but also not.
Okay.
I hadn't really got any expectations for it when I went in. Being a cyber forensics student, I wasn't a cyber researcher, I wasn't a programmer or anything like that. But I thought, why not just give it a chance? Went in, luckily they were one of the few companies still going that did placements during COVID. And they put us on to a lot of machine learning, like artificial intelligence stuff, which is where my dissertation evolved from. And over those 12 months of my placement, I learned far more than I thought I could in the 12-month period. And it was just going from one thing to another, just open learning almost for ourselves. It wasn't that guided, it taught us how to kind of do it ourselves.
Wow.
That's so cool.
That does sound awesome, doesn't it?
I wish I did a placement because I feel like when we did our courses, I guess you had to kind of do work experience around
it, yeah, as well.
But I felt like it was must have been really, really cool for you to kind of like actually learn for a bit and then go take a break from learning and come back. Lewis, how was it for you?
So yeah, much like Gareth, I did my placement at the company I'm working at now, so I was really fortunate to go back. I think we both had our placement during COVID, so it was all working from home the entire time. But I was a developer support engineer, which is a really weird job title. But essentially, Unity has customers, and they come to us with issues with their games that we need to fix. This thing doesn't work, or how do we do this thing? But it was a really rewarding experience because it's the first non-retail-y job that I'd had.
People like to call it a real job.
Yeah.
Stepping into the real world.
Because I come from the school of thought, I think any job is a real job.
Yeah.
And like if you worked in retail, you learn so much about people skills.
Customer experience as well, isn't
so
it?
important, especially if you're working for Unity and dealing with clients who are like, there's a bug in my game. And you're like, okay, calm down.
Yeah.
I think obviously university is ups and downs and roundabouts. There's especially with COVID. I would love to know who are the people that helped you throughout your time here. So it could be family, it could be a lecturer, and if you want to like send them a message, feel free to do so. Gareth, we'll start with you.
Yeah, there was a wide variety of people that did really kind of help me through. Primarily my partner, I met her in our flat in first year, so it has been one of those sort of experiences.
You're still together?
Still together.
That's really
we
lovely.
had our 4-year anniversary of the first date a couple of days ago, actually.
Oh,
yeah,
that's
so
very nice.
Amazing.
A lot of money later, here I am. But no, she's been really helpful, as well as that. My family in general, my family's been there to help me check wording and all that throughout, and kind of basically bounce ideas off past them. My personal tutor at uni has been really inspirational.
What's their name?
Stuart Richards.
There we go, Stuart Richards.
There we go,
Shout
Stu.
out to you.
As much as you like to call me Gary Barlow, I'll give you your dues. But yeah,
That's really
as
cool.
far as it goes.
Does your partner, did they proof your work for you?
Yeah, a lot.
Everyone keeps saying that.
Yeah, no.
Wow. Maybe that's like the perks of being in a relationship. To have a person to prove things for you. What about you, Lewis? Who is your support network?
I think absolutely my family are out, have done so much for me for be able to get through all 4 years of uni. And our flatmates, we were all pretty much on the same course. Some of us on games programming, some of us on games design. So we had a real nice support network of, what are you doing? Can you look at this thing? Yeah. And especially when COVID hit, I remember we all had that Boris Johnson announcement of everyone needs to stay at home.
Were you in a room together when it happened?
Gathered around the telly sort of thing.
We all kind of got the notification to our phones at the same time, and we kind of went into a, what now kind of thing do we do? And I think during that time we kind of spent so much time together inside, and there was still uni work going on at that point, and we became a real support network of each other.
I love that.
Wow.
I love that. What was games night like in your house? Did you ever actually play Mario Kart together? I don't know. I'm just like, or is that too?
It gets very competitive.
I was about to ask how competitive it gets. I can imagine there was some form of league table, at least.
yeah.
There's a tournament. And then, like, before we kind of wrap up, obviously you're graduating today. If you could look back and speak to your first year self, what advice or what would you say to them? Who wants to start?
I'll go first. Just do everything you possibly can.
That's good advice.
Whether it's signing up for extra things to do on your course, going to societies, just sign up for absolutely everything. It might turn out when you get there that, hey, this thing isn't for me, but at least you tried it and went out and did it, and you'll learn the things that you do love doing and the things that, you know, really, really drive you to go forward.
That's great advice. Gary, what about you?
Yeah,
Sorry, I called you Gary.
No, it's fine. I'd say pretty similar. Just give it a go, basically. I mean, there's so much that I didn't take a chance on during my uni period, and there are some things that I ended up doing after leaving that I kind of wished I'd done during my time. But it's learning that's kind of made me go, okay, right, just do it now anyway.
Well, if you have any regrets, you can come back and do a master's and do it over again.
Yes.
There's always an option.
But, I mean, first of all, congratulations on graduating, and also congratulations on being prize winners. I thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to kind of speak to us. And before we go, do you want to ask them?
We always do one thing on the podcast, and the question is, what is your most student meal that you've had at university? We have had some really, really rogue answers on this podcast. We had someone who said bread and water, which is a bit...
And we had someone this morning who, much to my... I'm going to say disgust, have a full-on charred pizza that they left in the oven. So, yeah, what is like your most studenty meal? End of the month, no money, no extra money for a takeaway.
This is the most difficult question so far.
Right? Like, what was like something that you ate as a student that you're like, I'm not proud of that?
Yeah, bread and gravy.
That sounds nice.
It was nice, especially after a few drinks, but you didn't hear that from me.
No, that sounds really good because I'm thinking like carbs and gravy, like chips and gravy.
I can imagine it as like a soup, and you just dip in the bread in like a soup.
You'd think that until it's the granules and whoever did it the wrong way.
So
no.
Do not mix it.
It wasn't me. I won't take the blame for this one.
That's very funny.
I don't think I can compete with that, but I think just the pre-cooked chicken from Asda with some spicy cheese in a wrap. It's nowhere near as out there.
That sounds so nice.
That does sound good.
That's like my lunch on a good day. That sounds great. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I hope you have an incredible day. What are you going to do across the stage when you walk? Are you just going to walk?
I'll decide when I get there.
You should try to get the audience to clap. You should do something because we love seeing people that like get down and try to get the audience involved. But yeah, thank you so much for joining us, and I hope you have an incredible day.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Lovely day, guys.
Fantastic. So we have someone joining us right now who we messaged on Instagram. Come in. Hi. What's your name and what course did you study?
Keenan, and I studied criminology.
So for people that don't know, Keenan has an incredible, I don't call it a side hustle, it's the main hustle. What's your main hustle?
Musician.
Ooh. Keenan is a rapper. Like so many viral moments on TikTok.
Yeah, I know.
Fab. So this is a very special day for you. Yeah. How are you feeling?
I feel good. I feel relieved it's over. It's very heightened, stressful time, but it's all good. We're done now.
You should be very proud of yourself. It's a lot of work and you've been doing incredible things on the side alongside of it. So we DM'd Keenan and I was like, Keenan, can you do spit some bars, which I'll like do a freestyle. So I will give you the mic and you can say whatever you want.
Okay. Your time to shine, this is Keenan.
Right. You can get it quite close.
Into the camera.
All right. Young scholar, let me be your honor. Buried in your books cause you wanna earn a dollar. And I know you party proper, so loosen up your collar. Wanna steal your heart, but I swear I'm not a robber.
Ooh.
Fantastic.
Love that.
We will remix that and make it the official theme for the graduation. Thank you so much. Have a great day with your family. Thank you. Fantastic.
I wish I could spit bars like that.
I can't rap for save my life.
I would try, but I think I'd embarrass myself.
That was so cool. That was like a bucket list thing for me to get a student to rap. So I've done it.
Like our podcast as well.
On the podcast.
On the podcast.
We
as
need
well.
more students are passing through. First of all, thank you so much for joining us today. It's a beautiful day here
Thanks for
at the
having
Cheltenham
us.
Racecourse.
Thank you.
It's stunning. You can see it behind us. And we're back with 2 students from the Gloucestershire Business School, which everyone, whenever they hear that, you guys are always known as the corporate students, which I think is very, very funny. So yeah, we'll start off by you. Do you mind introducing yourself and your course of study?
Yeah, so I'm Callum Rivers-Cole. I did business management fast track, which means I did my course in 2 years instead of 3. And I basically sacrificed my summer holidays for extra work, which was brilliant.
Sounds like a lot of fun.
Do you know what? It's more fun than it sounds, because you actually do focus up a lot sooner.
Yeah.
And you have to make time for your extracurricular stuff. So you do actually find yourself doing a lot more pertinent work rather than just, sitting around at uni and having a lot more free time and maybe drifting off a bit.
Yeah, so I'm Amy Huxley. I did a master's in human resource management for just 1 year, so I was quite lucky. I didn't have to give up any of my free time and my holidays. But yeah, I was at the University of Gloucestershire for 3 years prior to that, studying psychology and criminology.
Amazing. So you were based at FCH?
Yeah.
And
now
now
you're
you're in Oxford.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
How is the difference between Cheltenham and Gloucester for you?
Completely different vibe. I think on Francis Close Hall it's very chill, everyone's just kind of like doing their own thing. You don't see that many students, and then you move to Oxtalls and it's like a bit of a whirlwind. There's all the sports
it's wild,
students.
chaos.
Yeah.
24/7 students, yeah.
You literally go in there sometimes, there's like nursing students, business students, and you've got sports.
Yeah.
Like, what is going on here?
Yeah, I always say it's
crazy.
like a classic teen chick flick. You got your sports students, you got your business students, and it's really funny because it's so stereotypical. Like you'll see the Gloucestershire business students in the morning lectures, they're all in like sweats and like
Got their coffees in
PJs,
hand.
coffees in hand. In the afternoon, they're in suits. They're like ready
Yeah.
for business.
Absolutely, yeah.
Sports students are always ready for a
Shorts,
game.
Socks and
Socks.
sliders.
Sliders.
By the way, what would you say is like your most memorable moment that you've had at university, like during your 2-year period and your 1-year period? So.
Do you want to go, Callum?
I think for me, it's got to be due to with my societies actually. So being voted in as rugby vice captain last year was a really heartfelt moment for me, because you can play a sport for however long, but then actually having people you've only known for a year or 2 years maximum sort of back you as sort of one of their leaders, sort of having some sort of role model aspect to it. And getting that influence from the younger years in particular was really important to me. And it sort of emanated when, in my first year, we set up the Business and Enterprise Society. And again, it was just really nice to have people of a similar mindset come around you and join with you. And it really started to build up the sort of friendship side of university, as well as you're here to study, but there's all this other stuff you can do around it.
Yeah.
And that was really heartwarming to me.
I definitely we've said this so many times, university is like a coin. There's 2 sides to it, what you do in lectures and outside of lectures.
Yeah.
And I do think I find it fascinating for people that lead societies, 'cause especially for you studying business, you do it's a business. You get sponsorships, you have to kind of manage a team, you learn a lot of stuff. Do you think what you've done in societies and clubs will help you in your future career?
Oh, absolutely. So I always say that when I go to an interview, I always bring up that I play sports. I always bring up that I did the business society, because every single person asks you for transferable skills. They want to know about your communication, your leadership, any sort of team working abilities you've got in there. And I always say that from playing sports and doing the societies, I've always got maybe an elevated position to where I would have been if I just stayed at home and played Call of Duty for 4 or 5 hours a day.
Which is also okay to do, because I think that's sometimes it's good to get a break from life.
Oh no, absolutely, yeah.
Amy, what about you? What was your most memorable moment?
I would probably say completing this year, my master's. I think because I came from a social science background, I never expected to move to the business school. It's something that I also wasn't fully 100% committed to straight away. I threw myself into it thinking I want to try something else that I think I'm fully that I'm invested in, but I wasn't 100% certain. So I think for me, just giving something a go that I enjoyed my undergraduate, and I did it because I enjoyed the subjects. But I think thinking about my career and my progression in that way, I think then going to a master's in the business school was something completely different for me. And then to come out and achieve an award, I think
Congratulations.
I think for all those, thank you. I think for those things as well, it's to me, that's really special.
I love to hear that. Did you find it hard to move from undergraduate to postgraduate, or was it quite an easy, smooth transition?
I think for me, I lived at home for my
Yeah.
whole through undergrad and postgrad. So for me, it wasn't. I didn't notice a change as such. I'm quite like a people person. So for me, meeting new people and having those conversations with new people, new courses, again, wasn't really something that I was like nervous about. So for me, not really, but I can understand why it would be quite a big transition for other people, definitely.
I always find it fascinating because what you just said, like living at home and studying, what we call is the home student, which is very funny because I feel like everyone's at home when they're at university. But did you ever get FOMO, do you feel like you missed out on some opportunities?
No.
Yeah.
No, never.
What was it like for you?
Well, I still had the opportunity to go out. Like I still spoke to people on my course. They all still went out. I mean, I've been out in Cheltenham several times myself. I live local, so I kind of know what the nightlife's like. But for me, I didn't go to university to go out for that reason. I know a lot of people do go for the social aspect as well, whereas I didn't.
It's added value.
Yeah, so I didn't really feel like I missed out or anything like that. It was completely my choice. So
Amazing. And now that you've both have gone through a lot of hard work, a lot of typing, a lot of stressing over assignments, what's the goal now after university? Now that university's finished, you're graduating today. Like, do you have jobs lined up? Is there a particular career that you hope to go into?
Do you want to?
yeah, okay. So I started my job back in September in HR as a talent and L&D graduate.
Congratulations.
Thank
That's
you.
impressive.
So I'm on a 2-year programme, and then hopefully from there it's just the experience, and I'll progress further into my role. I'm qualified at CIPD level 7, so again, I can't go any further with that, but there are definitely other opportunities that I would like to do, other small courses, and just literally get as much experience as I can in the real world, as they say.
That's awesome.
How is adult life? How is being? I always find it funny, but it's like working in the real world. But like, how's the job going?
Yeah, really good. I think I was definitely ready for it. After 4 years of studying, I was definitely ready to go out there and just go and get a full-time job. Yeah. Yeah.
What about you, Callum?
Yeah, so I'm also working. I started in September as well. I'm a graduate trainee manager with Hanson, so a big, heavy building materials company.
Love that.
My progression's kind of 2 years. I'm already doing a second degree in concrete studies,
Love
which
that.
is
Wait, hold on a second. Concrete studies.
Yeah, it's as
so
you can tell, it's a very technical aspect of the work. But
Tell me a fun fact about concrete.
Yeah.
so we have 3 business lines, which is aggregates, cement, and concrete.
Yeah.
And concrete uses all of them. So we actually we're the biggest buyer for our own company.
Wow.
And we make the least money because we buy from ourselves. And it's always used. It's in everything.
My little school,
Wherever you go.
Bachelor of Arts mind cannot understand what you just said.
It's okay, Hesh, it's okay.
It's literally wherever you go. It's in everything.
Love that.
Roads,
Concrete is
buildings.
everywhere.
Where's that on concrete right now?
There's 100% concrete in this
And
building.
how are you finding? Are you going to the office? Are you working from home? Is that hybrid?
So because I'm the graduate, I'm kind of everywhere. I
that.
work the southwest, so I've been doing like 6-7 hour road trips, hotel stays. I've been seeing all senior management, meeting with them, doing assessments and audits, and helping out
Do you
with all
love it?
sorts. I'm having a great time.
Yeah.
I would say it's been a lot of work, but it's
Yeah.
definitely worth it.
And you must be learning a lot.
Definitely learning a lot, but going back to the adulting point, I'll admit it was stressful. The first few weeks coming out of uni, I was like, give me those little bits of free time I had after like at 2 o'clock on a Friday. I'd be like, oh, uni's done, I'll go home, sit down for a minute, and suddenly it's like 8:30 Friday evening and I'm still working.
The thing is, like, now is the best time to get all this experience.
Exactly, yeah.
Like, later on in life, you're not going to get the chance to do it, and it's the best time to do it, isn't it?
It is. I remember like I started working a week before I actually finished my last lecture, which is a psychotic thing. But it was honestly like one of those things. I did journalism and I graduated in 2019, and I'm currently doing a master's in PR, media and communications. And if anyone that works in journalism, we all always have this like the Devil Wears Prada dream of like going into an office is very glamorous, and it was not that at all. And I was a reporter, and I was getting sent out to do the most random reports, but I absolutely loved it. Like going out and about,
that's
seeing
brilliant.
Exactly everything that you've been studying and all the stuff. It is really gratifying.
I feel if you get a grad scheme as well, they treat you really well. which has been
nice.
kind of like the little taste of it on top.
Love
So
that.
like little few meals out here and there.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
I love that.
Obviously, like during your time at uni, is there anything you would go back and redo if you had your time over again?
I'd probably study harder in first year.
I think everyone says that.
Just because obviously first year for me, I didn't come with the intention of going out all the time, but when you
ended up
join a
that
few
way.
societies,
It sort of
and
happens.
obviously a bit different when you're in halls as well, and you've got people who are just having their freedom for the first time. You do go out a lot, and it's great fun for the first few weeks. Then you realise you've got no money, and the next loan doesn't come in until the end of semester 2. And I probably would have studied a bit harder, maybe focused a bit more on finances rather than let's go out Monday, Wednesday. But yeah,
But you have no regrets though.
no regrets
No
because
regrets.
it gave me the chance to sort it out year 2 and actually realise where I needed to change things up, and it helped me give advice to some of the people I was now friends with who were coming in for their level 4s and so on. So yeah,
But I think it's so important because what you do outside of lectures also helps you as a person. Like if you didn't have that year to have fun, make friends, discover what life is like in Gloucestershire, like you wouldn't actually you might not be the same person that you are today.
yeah, absolutely. You find so many like little nooks and crannies that have great cafes, pubs, places to hang out just in Gloucester and Cheltenham just in that first year.
Yeah.
And then obviously when it comes to like dissertation times, you're probably not going to head there. So it's nice to have that already set up and the memories already there.
Nice. What about you?
No regrets.
that.
I feel like it
No
just
regrets.
happened, and the way it happened just worked out really well for me. So yeah, no regrets.
And I would love to know, obviously, now that you are graduates or you're graduands and you're about to become graduates, everyone keeps correcting me this week. They're like, they're not graduates until they cross the stage. What would you say to your first year self?
Just believe in yourself. You
Yeah.
can do it. It might be a bit of a long journey, and it might not be a straightforward journey, but you'll definitely get there in the end.
Amazing. Callum, what would you say to your first year
That's
self?
actually brilliant advice. I was going to say,
That was very good. Put that on a t-shirt.
Focus up, enjoy yourself, but know your limits, and really put your head down in the library and don't think of it as just the place that everyone else goes. Make time to do it, but enjoy your time.
Yeah. Obviously, again, uni is like ups and downs, roundabouts everywhere. And who you are as people is hugely affected by who you meet and who you're supported by. So I would love to know who are the people that you think helped you throughout your time. It could be lecturers, family members who are in the room today. If you're watching the podcast on 360, you can say hi to the camera, by the way.
We currently have a 360. We currently have a 360 camera. We're actually experimenting for the first time using this 360 camera. So
I
fingers
found
crossed it
360
works.
camera in the kit store and I was like, I am using this.
That is mine.
Yeah, but who kind of was your rock throughout university?
It's really hard to like just nail
Pick
one
one
or two
person, no.
people,
But
but
do
just do it. Well, my girlfriend acted as my PA throughout the entire thing because I am useless with paperwork, timings. Like with uni, it was great because I had one calendar. I could just tick it off as I went, and then I would the social life at home would suffer, and I'd get a message through from my girlfriend being like, "It's Monday. You've got this on Tuesday. We're going out on Wednesday," and it was so helpful.
That's so nice.
I know, it's brilliant. And then in uni, Rob Whitehouse from the business school was just always there. Anything you needed, he was like, I've got you. I'll come and help you out. I'll sit down with you. You need some extra work, like to help out. Let's do it. And yeah, he really was a rock for our group.
Love that. If you want to send a message to Rob, what would you say to him right now?
Thank you, Rob. You were absolute rock the whole time. Me and Sophie and Amber would have absolutely failed without your IT class, especially through COVID. We would have absolutely fallen flat. He was the only one who was like, this is what you're going to do. This is the program. Here's how you save yourself from uni.
Amazing.
And he was honestly just always there.
Amazing. That's so nice. Amy, what about you? Who was your rock throughout university?
Well, obviously parents and massive support, but definitely my boyfriend. He was the one that was reading every single bit of work that I
Honestly,
wanted to submit.
They're better halves, so are doing all the work. Who else do you guys?
I mean, even he was studying, but I think he read my dissertation more than I did. So I think that sums it up. And then from a lecturer point of view, I'd probably say Penny from the business school.
Oh,
I think
Penny.
the transition, she made it 10 times better, and she made me see things from a completely different point of view.
Oh, wow.
So teaching in completely different styles that I'd never experienced before, I think have really helped me going into my working life, definitely.
Wow. That's so nice.
So
I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to cry. I did shed a little tear yesterday when we interviewed someone. I'm not going to cry today. And yeah, you guys are about to kind of embark on adult life, although you've been working for like 3 months. But as you become graduates, So what would your advice be to future first year students? About maybe it could be as simple as like you need to go to this cafe shop. Like it doesn't need to get deep. But yeah, because
It doesn't have to be study related either. It
can be anything.
It can be social related.
If we take it away from study related things, obviously we did our what would you tell our first year selves?
Yeah.
If you're gonna go out, don't just go to Moose. Everyone will drag you there. It's not the only club. Go around. There's some other great places. And if you're a pub person, Frog and Fiddle.
Yes.
Great place to sit.
I'm a Frog and Fiddle stan.
Exactly. See, there you go.
I would probably say meet as many people as possible. I think you learn so many different life experiences from loads of different people. So I think just meeting new friends, not closing any doors, definitely.
I think this is the only time at university when you can meet people from all different aspects of the country, or even from abroad as well.
Yeah.
All over the world.
It's crazy, like the different experiences that they have already seen in life, and you can compare that to yourself.
Yeah, one of my best friends from university is from Bulgaria.
Yeah.
And I remember like seeing him the first time. It was the smoking area at Moose. And I was like, "He's a lifetime." He was like, "I've got a lifetime." I was like, "Hello," and we literally been best friends for 6 years. And then one thing that we like to do in the Behind the Uni podcast before you go, because I know I want to send you off to get gowned and get ready. Throughout university, being students, there's a rite of passage of eating unhealthy. So we like to ask everyone, what was your most student meal? I'm thinking maybe you were at home, your parents weren't there to cook for you. Maybe end of the month, you've got no money. What is the most student meal?
We had someone on the podcast say bread and water.
Yeah. So
Do you know what? I had a housemate who blew up a tin of beans in a microwave, just a pure tin, no opening, no pot.
Hold on a second. He put the metal tin in the microwave.
Full metal tin in the microwave. Day one, I walked in, the microwave's sparking.
Did he not know?
No, his nana cooked for him 24/7.
Oh wow!
Sorry, Jake. Sorry, mate.
Wow. See, every single episode, I'm always so surprised by what comes out of this. So what was your most meal?
So I actually put on about 4 stone at uni. I came in rather lean and then just was no parents to sort of like cut you off. But my most student meal was definitely in first year. I was cooking a pizza. I was playing a video game, so I was just not paying attention. Came back in, the pizza burnt to a crisp. I pulled it out, but it was my only meal that day, so I was like, gonna eat it anyway. And it was like chewing charcoal, just the whole 5 minutes. So I finished that off, and then I was like, my friend had a pint of what I thought was like Ben & Jerry's. So I was like, I'll have a little bit of that. And I was just scooping my way through it. And he'd put like sour cream in the pot, because he was running out of pots. So I was just eating a charcoal pizza with sour cream and not knowing what the problem was with the flavours.
Wait. I have a whole lot of questions.
I don't know what's just happened there.
So you saw a Ben & Jerry's tub.
Yeah.
You took a spoonful.
Yeah.
It didn't taste like Ben & Jerry's.
It was a Wednesday night.
This explains a lot.
That's the missing puzzle here. Well, I mean, at least you've cooked something. At least it's not stale bread and water.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, there was a little bit of cooking involved. Yeah,
a little bit of cooking.
And we've had someone just eat bread and mayo.
Yeah, there's been a few weird ones.
Rice and mayo was a uni treat for somebody.
It's okay. We've honestly had way
worse.
Someone on Friday said that they literally just had salt and bread, and I was like, bread is just so. I was like,
what?
Yeah, I know.
It's what's it called? Like a facilitator for
for a lot of things. Everyone has bread in their cupboard. Amy, what about you? Obviously, you live at home. I'm sure your parents cook you lovely meals.
Yeah, I didn't really have the issue of trying to find whatever was left in my cupboard. But for myself, if I was in a rush, it would literally just be beans and cheese on toast.
Classic.
Great meal. Absolutely brilliant
meal. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. So, yeah.
And then just before we finish off, obviously you're here in this room with your family, and this is something that we didn't tell you we were going to do. But Callum, what would you say to your support network right now? These two lovely ladies.
There are 2 more downstairs as well who are brilliant, but just thank you so much for everything you've done for the last 2 years, looking after me, driving me places, picking me up when I lost things, helping me out with my PA. Just I wouldn't have done it without you. You know that as well. I said rescuing me, but I honestly wouldn't be able to do anything without you. So thank you very much, and love you both.
Amazing. Amy, what about you? What would you say to your parents?
Thank you so much. I mean, Mum's gonna cry if I say too much, so I'll keep it short and sweet. But yeah, no, just thank you. Like, I couldn't have done it without you. I've done 4 years and it's all paid off. So yeah, thank you.
Amazing. This has been so nice, and thank you so much for taking the time out of your day and coming in super
Thank
early.
you.
I'm welling up. Oh my god. I will always cry. But yeah, thank you so much. I hope.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
No problem.
We really hope that you have a great day. Go out afterwards, get drunk with the fam, go for lunch, whatever. Go to Frog and Fiddle. But yeah, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh,
Thank
you
you
so much.
Thank
you.
you.
Amazing. Thank you so much for tuning into our special episode of the University of Gloucestershire's Behind the Uni podcast. We had a lot of fun speaking to our graduates about their future whilst reminiscing on their favourite Uni of Glos memories. As always, you can listen and watch more episodes by searching Behind the Uni or Uni of Glos wherever you enjoy your podcasts. You can also watch funny extras from our in-public interviews on YouTube. Head to @Uni of Glos for more. See you next time.